Welcome to the Sneakpeak Podcast, edition number 1. My guest, Kosta. Thank you for coming.
You're very welcome, man.
My
So it's
guy.
official, we're starting.
It's
good?
official. It's
All right,
official.
cool.
So first of all, whether it's cleaning shoes, restoring shoes, serving people amazing food, bringing people together at car shows, you never cease to amaze me with the hustle, with the grind, the daily grind. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's an honor to have you as my first guest. So tell the people a little bit about yourself, your upbringing.
General, everything or
A little,
step one or today?
Today, let's start with today.
All right. Sneakers. It's my thing.
Yes.
I customize, restore, and clean sneakers.
Okay.
That's it in a nutshell.
And people drop them off, and then it's by
So
order,
yeah,
right?
we have a studio. We have a studio in the Côte d'Ivoire area where people come by, drop off the shoes. Obviously, we work by appointment because it's still a studio.
Yeah.
Long-term goal, have a little shop that we can work out of there, with store hours, regular store hours, where people could just pass by anytime and not have to make an appointment.
Nice. So at the beginning, when you first started, you had to buy all the equipment, right?
Yeah, it wasn't
airbrush.
much. Yeah, it's not much, but the basic stuff in order to get the job done. And
Now-
slowly, each time as you need one, you just add it to the arsenal.
Exactly. Now the arsenal is growing. Now you have a crepe partnership.
Yeah, absolutely.
Congratulations.
Sponsored. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I got a lot of help from different people.
Yes.
So yeah, no, I got the sponsorship from Crepe, which is has opened a lot of doors for me.
For
Has
sure.
helped a lot in the industry. Yeah, it's super cool. They treat really well. I help them, they help me. So we both scratch each other's backs.
That's all.
That's how it works, right?
That's what it is in business. That's all it is. So that's your current job. What was your first job ever?
First job. Okay, official first job.
Yeah.
At the age of 5.
Okay.
I started the workforce early, right? I had a immigrant father who believed in hard work.
Yes.
So I would. He used to bring me to his print shop. He used to be a printer.
Okay.
So I used to have a very easy job working on a big press. When you buy a little pad or you get a pad of paper, how it has a cardboard at the back.
Yes.
So all I had to do was stop the press, put the cardboard at every 100
wow.
sheets, and start the press again.
Wow.
So that was my first official job. And then over time, helping the family business and going to meet clients with my father. So I got exposed to sales at a very young age. Even though I wasn't saying much, I was listening to my father speak with customers.
You're learning.
That's it. But later on, after that, leaving the family, not leaving the family, leaving the family business, at a certain point, you want to move on with something else.
Yeah.
Not work for mommy and daddy for a roof over your head. You want to start getting your own cash flow. So I started working at a car wash.
Yes.
Washing cars. That's where I started learning a lot about cars. Started detailing cars also.
Okay.
That was.
And how many hours were you working at the car wash?
Oh man. It was 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week.
12-hour work day. So you're working 72 hours per day, per week?
Per week, yeah, per week.
72 hours per week.
Unless it rained. If it rained, we had more slack.
Okay, understandable.
And in Montreal, we have a lot of rain, so...
Yes. So how old are you when you're working 72-hour weeks?
17.
So you were 17, working that many hours, and there are kids, 18, people in their 20s, working 40-hour weeks and complaining. So that just goes to show you hustle. And
To each their own, right? We can't really judge anybody. We can't say that it's not right what they're doing, or...
It depends what you're doing, but I feel like the new generation is, in general, a little softer than older generations, in the sense that they complain, they're used to a good life, but depending on who you are. But I think it's a known fact that my generation, at least, it's a little softer.
But there's different kind of opportunities, I find, for your generation.
For sure.
Social media didn't exist for us.
We have it much easier.
Much easier. Well, you can't say much easier because the platform is the same for everybody. So you still have to be competitive on a different kind of platform. And this is how I see it. It's not really like it's much easier. No, to go get a client, it's much easier, 100%.
Yeah.
However, if you have to compete with others, we're fighting for that same customer.
The competition increased. Yeah, that's for sure. You have to. The competitive nature of a businessman and entrepreneur, it never changes, but the opportunities increased. So you need to work harder.
That's it. That's
For
it.
sure.
You 100% have to work harder.
For sure.
You have to go through the grind.
Absolutely.
And you know, if you could get the job done in 8 hours, good. You could do it in 4 hours, even better. But if you need to do 12 hours, you got to do your 12 hours.
So so for the kids that don't realize that how hard they need to work, and they think they're doing 40 hours a week, they say, okay, that's enough. So what advice would you give those kids that don't know?
Depends what they want.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where their priorities are. If they're in school, if they're working just to pay the rent, if they're working just for spending money to do nothing with it, you know, you really have to determine what it is you're really doing and for what reason. I think that's the first advice I would give anybody.
Okay.
Have a goal and determine why it is you do it. Because if you're just doing it uselessly, you'll never put your heart into it. You'll never give you 100%, and you won't work the 12 hours.
For sure.
You won't want
So
to
find
work
your
for 12
purpose.
hours. Yeah. I think that's the most important part. Find your purpose.
Why.
Yeah.
Find your why.
Yeah, you're why, correct. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot of kids, this new word entrepreneur didn't really exist a long time ago. It was just businessman. Now, this new word came about. So would you call yourself an entrepreneur?
Let me just correct you. Entrepreneur has always existed.
But it's popular now.
It's à la mode.
It's à la mode. It's
right
trendy.
now.
It's trendy.
And I don't know if it's what I follow on social media, but it seems like whenever I open my Instagram feed or my Facebook feed, it's all about business and motivation and being an entrepreneur. Yeah. To the point where I feel like it's almost saturated, or I've overheard it so many times that I'm bored of it. Yeah. Almost hearing it. But
it's
entrepreneur,
it's a bubble.
Yeah, it is.
But I feel like the fake entrepreneurs, because there's like a million clothing brands just in Montreal. I feel like those people eventually are going to kind of die off and then go back to who they really are. But a true bred entrepreneur, what would you describe one as?
You know, I want to go back to what you just said.
Yes.
Because those people who are starting small brands, even if it doesn't make it anywhere, they still got that experience. And they failed.
For sure.
And that failure is a teaching. So I will never take anything away from these people who just started something and didn't make it anywhere. You know what? That didn't make it anywhere. But that experience that you gained on trying and seeing that did not work it's huge. Huge, extremely valuable. Yeah. So for an entrepreneur, what's your question exactly? What an entrepreneur is?
To you,
I just think it's someone who's a businessman. Yeah. As simple as that. Yeah. A businessman who works for himself. Who tries to get his own money. Meaning he's not going to a 9-to-5 job working for someone else.
Okay, yeah. Would you say somebody that finishes what they start?
No. Because you don't necessarily need to finish 100%, right?
Agreed. Yeah, I was going
to say. If it fucks up, it doesn't work, you didn't finish.
Okay. So you said you worked at a car wash. What was the jobs you had after that? In brief.
While I was working at the car wash, started working at a motel on Saint Jacques. I was working 3 days a week, and the only reason I was just trying to fill my days with hours. I had just I had stopped school. I dropped out of school, so I was trying to just fill my days with work. I wanted to prove, like, okay, without school, I can make money. Yeah. So that was my second official job other than a family business. But after the car wash, when I left from there, it was just overworked. It was too many hours for that age, and without having necessarily a goal. I was just working to spend the money. So at a certain point, I was like, okay, I have everything I want. Like, I don't want to work anymore. I'm tired.
What were you spending the money on?
Stupidities.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Whether it was going to the movies, buying a bag of chips, or
for sure. No, understand.
Buying CDs back then.
Yeah, it's a problem.
So, a problem. Yeah, I got to buy the things I never had as a kid. Okay. So at that age, it was like, let me try and get everything I never had, since now I have money and I still lived at home under mommy and daddy's roof. It's like, I don't need to pay rent or pay food. Yeah. So that money was just gone, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So after that, when I left, I decided to change industry. But the reason I decided to change industry was, let me just go work at a little retail shop, clothing store, you know, fast until I find something else. You know, I didn't think much of it. Right. So I went to the Eaton Center and I walked into Le Supermonde des Athlètes. Yes. And for those who don't know, it used to be a sports store back in the day.
It was an Athlete's World.
Athlete's World in English, a division of Bara. But obviously in Quebec it was Le Supermonde des Athlètes, right? So I went there and I walked in, spoke to the manager, and he goes, "You have an interview in 10 minutes."
And I was just like that?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, for real? And I was trying to think, what clothing store should I go work at, right? And I was like, I enjoy sports. It looks like a cool industry to work in. Let me go knock on their door, right? Yeah. So he tells me we'll have an interview in 10 minutes.
Wow.
So that interview, we went all the way to the upstairs floor in Eaton Center, and we sat down, and they started drilling, 2 managers, right?
Wow.
Back then, it was the manager and the co-manager.
Wow.
And they started drilling me with questions, especially the co-manager, right? The manager was more quiet. The co-manager was drilling me with questions nonstop. And I'm like, fuck, all I want to do is work in a clothing store. Like, what are all these questions?
What were they asking you?
So he was going personal on, like, what do you think about this? Or how do you, I can't remember now, right? If I sit and think about it, I'm sure I can remember everything. Yeah. But he was telling me, how would you sell this? How do you feel about that? What is your opinion on this? And I was like, fuck. Like, the interview was an hour and a half.
Wow.
You know, I was like, this is not what I expected to get a minimum job,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
They take it seriously, this clothing store.
Well, he took it more than just seriously. Because the tables turned for me. My whole life changed at that moment, right?
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Because we went back into the store after being drilled. And, you know, I just sat down 2 seconds. I had some papers to fill out. And I remember the 2 managers being there after being drilled through this interview. So I'm all nervous and whatever. And I'm sitting down. And somebody walks in with a bag from a competitor's store.
Oh, wow.
Holding a bag. And the 2 managers, they started saying, like, oh, look, this person coming in with this competitor's bag. Yeah. So you see the 2 managers between them. Suddenly, like, their whole attitude changed. And they're being friendly and funny. And they start betting if they're going to be able to make the person go return that bag to the other store and purchase from him.
Oh, this is a real customer.
Yeah, this is a real customer, right? And now I just got exposed to this, like a whole different environment. And I see the co-manager walk up to the person and saying, hey, can I see what the pair of shoes is you bought? Yeah. So the lady, you know, is a young, short little lady, opens her bag, pulls out the pair of shoes, and he starts saying, oh, like, very nice shoes, but what are they for? Why'd you buy them? Yeah. And the lady starts telling him, I don't remember what the reason was, right? But he started explaining back, like, this might not be the right shoe. If you like it, it's a whole different story. However, what you're looking for is not that type of shoe. And he started explaining to her what all the different shoes were and the technology behind it. So now I'm being exposed to something super cool, something new, right? Yeah. Not only the hustle, the way he's just grinding and talking to her, because you can clearly hear he's selling. Yeah. But he was so polite about it, to the point where she was interested and thought it was, like, amazing that the guy took the time to explain things to her.
He mastered it,
So he brought her to the shoe wall. Rest assured, doesn't she buy a brand new pair of shoes? Wow. And she said she was going back to the other store to return the shoes. Wow. Now I'm sitting there waiting to get, and right away he comes back. The other manager pulls out the $5, gives him the $5. Yeah, for the bet that they had. Yes. Right. But I just got exposed to a whole new fun environment.
Yeah, that is fun.
And seeing him do that, I was like, now that's the hustle.
When you have that skill of selling, it becomes very enjoyable because you're not scared, you're not nervous, you know exactly what to say. Confidence. You know
but you have to know your stuff in order to be confident.
For sure.
Like what he was explaining to her wasn't just bullshit. No, it was for me, which I learned later on, right? He took his time a lot to give us a lot of PK product knowledge on sneakers or on the fabrics and etc. So seeing him have that confidence.
He knew what he was talking about.
Yes. And suddenly I was like, this job is not a little retail store job. It was completely different. Wow. So that was...
That's crazy. That's an amazing story. So, okay, so you went from that job. What you had after that? You didn't have the restaurant.
No. The restaurant comes years later.
Way later.
Yeah. Like... being at Athletes World, I ended up spending 6 years of my life there, right? Yeah. And, like, things changed completely. Mm-hmm.
So you have the car show. Yeah. What is that called?
The Ultra Ride.
And when did you found that?
In 2007.
Okay. While you were at Athletes World?
No, this was after. So at Athletes World, I was there 6 years of my life, and from a regular salesperson, ended up being an assistant.
Oh yeah,
to a co-manager, to a manager having my own stores.
How many stores did you have?
I had Eaton Center, Alexis Neon, Place Vertu, Carrefour Laval, 4 stores. Wow. I had. Yeah. That's amazing. And I had the opportunity to work with those same managers who had hired me. Wow. So from being hired to next thing you know, we're at the same level, working together, going to meetings together, and exchanging scenarios like, dude, this is what's happening in my store. What can I do? How can you help me out? Wow. And if it wasn't for them, those two, and then after meeting other managers that I got to work with and got even closer with, I would have maybe never learned. And at a young age and in that short time, getting all those big stores, it was...
And those people really knew what they were doing, so that's good mentors.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
And if we're talking about mentors, what would you say is the biggest advantage of having a mentor?
Someone else with experience. Someone who has tried, failed, or succeeded, and can give you advice.
They learned.
That's
why I love books, because it's somebody's knowledge. It's like you're having a conversation with a very successful person, but you're not. You're just getting their knowledge. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's oftentimes you hear a parent speak, and it's like, "What do you know, mom and dad?"
Yeah.
But
exactly. But they know.
They do. But sometimes you don't only want to listen to just one person. You want to listen to 100%. Other people who have been through different scenarios, who have tried different things, and then you can mix from everybody's ideas. But I think the most important is a mentor who's been in your industry before.
Yes, that's important. I was just about to say, a lot of people are taking advice from people not in their industry. People who think they know what they're talking about. For example, you're asking for business advice, and you're going to a teacher, not a business teacher, but a random person.
A mathematician.
A mathematician, exactly. And they're telling you, no, don't do this. I think you should do it this way. Okay, I respect your opinion, but what do you know about business? So I feel like a lot of people go to the wrong people for advice.
But when it comes to mentorship, right, there's a lot of things. It's not just about business, because when it comes to business, it's very emotional also.
Yes.
So you have to be emotionally ready to embark in a business venture.
Yeah. Well, emotionally detached. Let's say you have
employees. I can understand what you mean.
Yeah.
But you can never be detached emotionally from an employee. I've been in industries where the boss did not give a shit about an employee, where the employee was a number, and it was very wrong. Sometimes I was forced in being in that type of situation too.
That's not right. No.
So detached emotionally in that sense, never. No, you need to empathize with your employee. This guy is here bending his back for you. You have to work twice as hard as him to show the example.
Yeah, exactly.
And number two, you have to empathize. If he's breaking his back, him too, he's human, right? It's not all about money.
But you need to take really good care of your employees.
Yes.
For them to stay in and do the best job.
Yeah.
And for them to be happy there, you want them to be happy at work too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I think that's the way to go. If you're running a business, if you have employees, treat them right, they'll treat you right. Personal brands. You're building your personal brand on Instagram? Are you building it on just Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat? What are you on right now?
So the reality of things, when you say personal brand, what do you mean by that?
Just the brand
as Axxents?
As Axxents. Well, that's your brand.
That's it.
But you as a person.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to clarify that. I can give you a business card, or I can shake your hand.
Yeah.
Right? Me personally is almost like I'm marketing myself. You enjoying me as a person, or you and I getting along, is step 120 type of business. Because sure, I could just drop off my card and that's it and walk away and you'll never remember me. Yeah. But if you and I get to meet and we see that we get along, we have the same interests and etc., tomorrow when you have that need, you might think of me.
For sure.
Or vice versa. So I rather be the best person I can be and promote myself as this is who I am. You get along with me? Cool. We get along. We don't get along? We don't need to be best friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
That's cool. But what is the importance, on social media at least, of building a personal brand?
It's exposing reality, right?
Yeah.
Or how? Yeah. What do they call it?
But
being authentic.
Yes.
I think that's what it's all about. So
showing people who you really are.
Correct. So I can just shake your hand, but through social media, I can shake 100 people's hands in one shot.
Exactly.
With one post.
Yeah,
and as long as I can be, authentic. A lot of people claim to be authentic, so I don't like that word anymore. But it's me, right? The person who you're gonna message, I will reply, and I will reply the way I really feel.
Yeah.
Right? And with my vocabulary, I'm not gonna be extra beautiful, like, oh hi, thank you very much for messaging me. No, bro, like, Those are cool sneakers, man.
Yeah,
I like them.
Yeah. No, you don't need to be
I will
corporate.
say it. That's it. I don't need to be corporate.
Yeah.
In this industry. Don't get me wrong. If you're in a different kind of industry, you have to be corporate.
It's a cool industry.
But even being in a corporate world, it's still about relationships. It's still about getting to know the other person.
Sure. And
not just about I'm a salesman.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So coming to personal brand, I rather show me.
Okay. You authentically.
Yes.
Your full self.
My full capabilities, my full experience, everything.
Yeah, that's another thing. So you talked about influence a little bit. That goes hand in hand with personal brand. So like when you have a personal brand, you're able to influence people positively or negatively. And I feel like there's a lot of influencers promoting the wrong things. There's this guy called like Supreme Patty, for example, just like a schmuck. You know?
Okay.
And he just takes shots of sriracha, just does like really stupid shit. And you have so many views on these videos, you could be doing so much good. But you're showing videos of you doing things out of jackass. So what's the point?
Yeah, I haven't figured it out yet, right?
I really don't.
Sometimes I'm like, should I start doing stupid shit just so I can get more attention driven my way?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, no. At the end of the day, I'll just keep being me. And you know what?
Sure.
If I meet one new person a day, it's
good.
a win.
I mean, he is that person. Like Supreme Patty, that's who he is. He is a schmuck in his core.
So he's doing great then.
And it works.
So he's doing great, yeah.
It sells. Entertainment sells, don't get me wrong. But there's people that are selling shoes, for example, on Instagram. So, you could call them resellers, you could call them whatever you want, but would you call resellers entrepreneurs?
100%.
Yeah? Do you think there's levels of an entrepreneur?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Just like you have a rookie hockey player, all the way till you have a superstar, or in basketball, same thing, right? Now, a young entrepreneur reselling sneakers, it's his first exposure to him dealing with selling and purchasing and etc.
Yeah,
I think it's his first exposure. 100%. Is he an entrepreneur? Yeah, entry level, but everybody has to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So with the personal brands, you said it's really important to show people your authentic self. It's important to influence them positively so that they can build better habits, see you as a person and as somebody who owns a business. So it's also important to get clients too. So, there's an influence side and then there's a business side. It helps you make money, of course. Not only social media, but your actual business.
Mm-hmm.
So you said that there is no difference between somebody who sells sneakers and an entrepreneur.
No, I think it's the exact same thing, just a different level of it.
Okay, it's like a synonym. Not a synonym, but like
because an entrepreneur can be selling whatever. It doesn't matter whether it's sneakers, pencils, or
cabbage.
Yeah,
literally anything.
Yeah.
Okay. For the young people listening, what would you tell them if they wanted? Let's say they have a clothing idea, they have a business idea. What would you tell them to help them build their brand? What's the first step, basically, into building?
The first step is to take the first step.
Which is?
The first step. Because you could sit and plan a whole bunch before.
Yeah.
And you can sit and refining and, let me change this, let me change that. Oh, this is going to work better. No. Honestly, the first step is to actually take that first step. And it's the hardest one. The first step to take. Because you fear judgment. You feel, is it going to work? Is it not going to work? But the only way to find all that out is take the first step.
Just jump in.
As simple as that. Like, yes, it's very important to plan, like that expression, failing to prepare is preparing to fail.
Exactly.
100%.
Exactly.
However, do not overthink it.
Because then you'll never do it.
You'll never do it, number one. Number two, as you get into it, you get involved in it, whatever you planned before might not even be valid.
Exactly.
You're going to have to start changing everything.
Exactly.
You'll be learning during.
I 100% agree with you. When it comes to starting a business, it's much better to jump in. Because you can read books, you can listen to audiobooks, you can write a business plan. It's important to know where you're going. That's the most important thing. As long as you know what your vision is, you can jump in.
Yeah.
There's no need to have a dozen business plans and have people on your phone book ready to call. If you have questions, that's okay. It's okay. It's important to have a mentor, somebody you
But
can go
as
to.
you go, something happens. It's like, how do I solve this?
You don't need
Let me speak to someone or research it.
You don't need everything right before you launch.
Yes.
Just launch. The rest will come. So yeah,
How long did you plan before you started the first sneak peek?
Before the show itself.
Yeah.
Well, I promoted the show for about like 4 months, but when
but you started. You committed, so you put it out there.
Well, yeah, it took me maybe a day.
Really?
To actually, yeah.
Okay, cool. You took that first step very quick.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's an example.
Yeah. Well, in the morning I was designing flyers just for shits and gigs. I had honestly no intention of actually hosting a show, and I did it theoretically. What would happen? Who knows? And then I'm like, fuck, I should probably really do this. And then that day I decided, okay, I'm gonna do it. And then from then on, I started organizing the first show.
So since we reversed the role here and I'm asking the
questions,
what are your thoughts on what entrepreneurship is?
Okay, I think an entrepreneur, a good quality of an entrepreneur, is somebody who's very empathetic and likes the grind, like the dirt, the nasty side of business. Not the nasty side, but the hardship, because it's mostly tough, hard work. You're not going to celebrate every day. So I think it's somebody who really enjoys like going to the meetings, not getting clients, because
getting your hands dirty, being at the front line.
It fuels them.
Us.
And obviously, we love getting deals done, but when we don't, it's just fuel. So I think it's somebody who really likes getting in there.
Let me tell you a little story about that.
Please.
So I went to the bank so I could borrow money, so I can start a business. And I went with my business plan, and the manager at the bank takes my papers, looks at it. Everybody thinks you can be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You know how that fueled me?
Oh yeah. Fuck.
Him just saying that?
You really think you're gonna make it? You really want this money?
Fuck you. What?
What?
Obviously, when I left there, I was super pissed and annoyed and disappointed how he barely even took the time to look at my business plan. And I was like, I wrote that shit for what? For him to even discard it, not read it? Might as well
have just ripped it up.
I could have started whatever I'm doing without even writing a business plan. But no, I said, let me go that route, which is by no means the wrong route, because my business plan is also like my game plan for myself. I can refer back to it. All right, what's next?
What's next? Exactly.
However, seeing somebody, everybody could be, the arrogance behind it.
Yeah.
Oh, that really got me going. And you know what? I might fail.
Yeah.
I might fail. He might have been right that it's not a good idea.
Well, I have a story. For my first show, before I booked the actual venue, I went to Dawson. And the guy there, he was kind of leading me on in terms of renting the room. And maybe like a month before the show, everybody knew it was going to be at Dawson. He comes to me, I go to him to secure the payment, and he goes, oh, you really thought I was going to rent you the room? I was like, what? Like, we literally went back and forth in emails. And you come to me telling me that you're not going to rent the room. And he's like, honestly, I don't really think anybody's even going to come to this. I was like, what do you mean, bro?
Thank you for your opinion.
I said, honestly, just stop right there. I'm going to leave now. I have another venue to find.